Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Today is a great show because we're going to talk about Alzheimer's and dementia and the individuals that help with the transitioning and to daily activities that they have to deal with. All the way from Hobart, Indiana, is a young lady who started a company that is truly remarkable at how they handle individuals with Alzheimer's and dementia. I'd like to welcome to the show Kathryn Speer to the show. Did I pronounce it right?
Perfect.
Great. Hobart, Indiana. That's not that far from Indianapolis, Indiana. Born and raised in Hobart or what?
I was 2.5 hours straight up I-65.
Really?
Very close to the Dune State Park.
Okay. Tell the viewers a little bit about you before we get into the journey and what you're doing with Alzheimer's. Who exactly is Kathy?
Kathy is the daughter of Philip and Marcia Speer.
Okay.
I am a registered nurse, and I'm a geriatric neurology nurse.
What exactly is that?
Dealing with people of advancing ages.
Okay.
That have a neurological challenge, neurological diagnosis.
Okay.
So, comprehensively seniors that have Parkinson's,
Mm-hmm.
a form of dementia, which could include Alzheimer's,
Mm-hmm.
or Lewy body or vascular dementia, ALS, MS, stroke victims. So I work with clients that have medical challenges, and throughout my career, I have been involved in senior living, hospice care, home health care management.
Mm-hmm.
But I was the manager of an extended care senior living product for years.
Right.
And I wanted somehow to create a world where everybody still got to enjoy life.
What do you mean when you say that?
Well, I had 420 apartments, and the event of the week was bingo. Now, there's nothing wrong with bingo,
Right.
but when they're fighting over the dimes that they get to have to play bingo, and there's never a day that went by that one of their caregivers, one of their children, one of their nieces, one of them wasn't angry. They're either, the peas are too soft, the peas are too hard. Somebody's sitting in my seat. I didn't get enough dimes to play bingo. Mom didn't receive the gift that I sent her this morning. Well, that's because it's been 2 hours ago. The conversations were never joyful. So I decided to create a company that could let families, caregivers, loved ones, and seniors that have a diagnosis still get to enjoy life.
Why do you think there was? I worked I shared this with you as an activities director in a nursing home, and I remember the way that I got the job was the director said, if you can make this guy talk, you can get the job. And I thought it was kind of stupid way to hire me, at the time, but he was in his bed and he never communicated with anybody. And the funny part about it was he did communicate with me. And I can't remember exactly what I said to him to get him to talk. But I do remember when I left, he cried like crazy. But I saw...
because you genuinely cared about him. You took the time to invest in him.
Really?
I don't know what the diagnosis was, but every single person that doesn't have a diagnosis should really just raise their hand.
Right.
Because all of us have a diagnosis.
Right.
And I genuinely believe that no matter what the diagnosis is, everybody deserves to still get to talk, to communicate, to have fun, to find joy.
And I did see that in the nursing home when I was there. I saw the checkers. But I didn't understand. Let me put it like this. Dementia and Alzheimer's was not a topic of conversation in the late 90s.
Well, it wasn't when I graduated from nursing school either.
Yeah, so they might have been diagnosed with it, and I had no idea. But what I did see, and I shared with you, that was really troublesome to me in the nursing home. I remember saying, I don't ever want to be in here because the level of care and the way that the nurses was treating the patients there. And I saw a lady one day. I shared this with you. I came into work early. I went there late one night just to create activities for them because I was like, how can you have a life where you don't really do nothing? And I saw a lady sitting in her feces. I never will forget it. She was looking out the window, and it was at night. And I'm looking at the nurses station. I see the light going off, and I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck ain't you in there helping this lady? And it literally changed my whole thing. So my hat's off to you and what you're doing, because I said there has to be a change in this system. They can't just sit in here in this bed and do exercises, getting up and down and going eating Jello and pudding every day. They still have a quality of life.
And there's nothing wrong with TV, but there has to be more than just watching the TV.
Right.
And so I created a company that travels, and we travel with every single family, no matter what the diagnosis is, no matter what the severity is, with the proper support,
What do you mean?
with the right professional care.
Okay.
We can still create a situation where their loved one has happiness, finds exciting, fun things to do, and the family gets to create amazing memories of seeing dad or mom be happy and make those memories in their heart that they're going to get to hold.
Is this a one-of-a-kind company? Because clearly I've never even heard of opportunities like this for the elderly and the ones that have dementia and Alzheimer's, and giving them an opportunity to still be with their family. And because that's something else I noticed. A lot of the families were not connected. And I think the reason from not athletic director, but as an activities director, was there was really nothing for them to really do together but sit there like they were convicts.
Well, and stare at the TV.
Yeah.
or argue about dimes over bingo.
Were you met with resistance from, because when you're dealing with assisted living homes, they have straight protocols and stuff as how they deal with the assisted living aspect and the non-assisted living. Were you met with resistance trying to start this company?
A lot of other nurses think that I'm really crazy, that this is just too difficult. Why don't you just go get something that's easier? But the answer is a lot of our clients come from a memory care unit. Their families bring them from memory care. Mm-hmm. Their families bring them from assisted living. Or they're still living at the house with private duty care at home. Mm-hmm. Or their spouse is still trying to do it all. Or their daughter or their son is in charge of this. But we have done some amazing projects with senior living companies where we just do a custom project for that company created for them. Mm-hmm. And that's a wonderful thing to get to do. But most of our experiences are booked with individual families into a group. So I'm taking 53 people to Alaska.
Wow.
In a couple weeks in June.
Wow. Interesting. I want to go.
We will go on a Holland America cruise ship, round trip from Seattle, Washington. And we will create activities on this ship. Interactive workshop sessions for the caregivers, for the spouse, the families, mm-hmm. So that they have something to hang on to when they leave this ship.
How difficult is it for you to collaborate such an event? You know, because it's not like me picking up the phone and telling my family, look, we're going on a trip and it is whatever. You're talking about individuals that need supervision, which is not an added cost on the ship itself, but they have to really restructure or make special provisions for them. That's probably something they're not really used to. I could be wrong. I'm just asking you.
I can obtain private conference space. So
Okay.
our events all take place in a private conference area with a door.
Okay.
So increased security issues.
Okay.
We create an adult daycare programming every afternoon so that the caregivers can take off, can go to the spa, can go walk on the deck, can go look for whales, can stand outside and scream, take a nap. And we will be doing activities, music therapy, art therapy, Scrabble, bingo, things that they want to do in that adult daycare program in a space with a door that we have obtained from the cruise line when the arrangements were originally set up.
How difficult is it for the caregivers, the children of the individuals, to understand how to navigate this on a cruise ship? Because you still have your staff, but you're still trying to create memorable moments with their family. How was that engaged?
We orchestrate that pretty careful. We try to get all of this group to come to a pre-cruise hotel at least one night before, so that my professional staff can meet, greet, and assess, what's going on with everybody. We take each family with a staff member through the ship check-in process.
Okay.
So we walk them through this one step at a time. We keep, until we get all the way to their cabins, we are holding their hand through security, through checking the luggage, through checking in at the passport, the whole thing. We make a significant effort to take care of their loved ones for a couple hours that afternoon so they can unpack, put stuff where they want it without so much help.
Right.
And then we meet back in our conference room for the first time so that I can introduce the staff. And we are staffed at one professional to every 3 travelers.
Okay. Like,
So-
what does that mean when you say that?
I mean, other registered nurses, certified dementia activity specialists, certified nurses' aides, other medically trained professionals that can provide the support that they need. Whether it's taking mom to the bathroom, taking mom for a walk on the deck, taking dad upstairs to get a cup of specialty coffee and let him enjoy the view. Carefully trained people, and many of these staff members have lived through this caregiving gig
Right.
and have subsequently lost their loved one, and so really have experienced the self deprivation of what caregiving can truly be on that caregiver. The number of caregivers that pass away prior to their loved one is staggering.
Really?
60%. And I almost was that statistic. So it's just really important that when we're doing these workshops, that we try to impart information that's reality,
Right.
not just useful jumble, but stuff that they can take home and use. A couple years ago, I had a young lady about the day before we were going to get off, and she's like, "Okay, Kath, you have tutored us, taken care of him, taken us on excursions, done every single thing for him this entire week. And if you don't give me something to hang on to when I get out of here, I'm leaving him with you." Because they need to have something that, the grit, the real stuff. How do I manage? What do I need to do to keep him in the house? Give me realistic ideas of how to keep track of him. Useful stuff that they really have to struggle through if they're living at home with them. And we try to address as much of that as possible.
You mentioned you was almost a statistic. Elaborate on that, please.
I am coming to the end of having been the primary caregiver for both of my parents. One living with vascular dementia and one living with Alzheimer's. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but incredibly stressful, incredibly difficult, incredibly challenging. And I managed to have a heart attack and end up over here in Hendricks Regional in ICU a couple times.
Why do you?
The stress is overwhelming when you're trying to not lose yourself
And taking care of somebody else.
in the caregiving process. Yeah.
I can see the heart and the emotions in what you do. What are we lacking? What is the family lacking? What do we need to do to put ourselves? I probably just answered the question. How do we put ourselves in your shoes? What can we do? What can the family do to be more supportive and understanding instead of you and putting all the blunt on yourself?
I think that many people offer to help. Well, what can I do to help you? And our immediate response is, oh, I'm fine. I got this. Because somehow we're protecting our own inner stability by just saying, oh, I can do this. I can do this. When in reality, the bottom line is we can't. So what I try to teach my clients, let's make a list. When you're sitting and no one's screaming at you for a few minutes, make a list of all the stuff that you have to do, that has to get done. I have to go to CVS to pick up the scripts. I have to go back to the grocery store because we're almost out of orange juice. The list, I have to go outside and get the mail. I have to do. And then the next time someone offers, hey, what can I do to help you? You know, Barb, you could pick up that script at CVS if you would. Here's the credit card. Would you please just pick up the scripts that are ready and bring them back?
At least
That is
45 minutes
a
of release.
45-minute circus that I've now avoided because I haven't had to take my mom to CVS with me while she's taking apart the CVS while I'm trying to pick up the prescriptions.
Okay. Whose phone?
It's mine.
You can go get it. We'll cut it. Go ahead. We'll cut this part out. It's fine. That's all right.
I need to grab a drink.
Go ahead.
I'm about to cough, which would be worse.
Okay. We ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. So that 45 minutes can really add a little bit of relief.
Serious relief, because now I have the prescriptions that I need picked up. I haven't had to have a traumatic confrontation with my mom in the middle of the pharmacy. And I've got to go downstairs and put in a load of laundry. So the process of life, it doesn't have to be a complicated thing that you ask them. Something little, you know, hey, this really needs to go to the post office. Could you take this to the post office, get it weighed, ship it? Would you do that for me? And the answer is people will. In Genuine, people have a good heart. People want to be helpful to us. And teaching yourself to ask for help is against our human nature. We're well-educated, competent people, and we know what we're doing, and we've got this handled. Mm-hmm. Asking for help is a good thing. It's honestly your salvation.
Is this the first trip that you guys have done on with this program that you've done, or has there been other trips?
I have completed 53 dementia-friendly caregiver retreat cruises.
What's the feedback? What are the patients? What are the families saying about the trips?
My greatest honor is the number of repeat clients that we have. I have clients that have traveled with us 11 times.
Really?
One gentleman distinctly said to me, Kathy, you gave me my wife back. For the past 10 days, I got to be the husband, and you guys got up in the middle of dinner and took her to the bathroom. And you guys, helped her order her meal. And, you guys took care of the complexities of life, and I got to be her husband. And that really sunk into my heart.
This sounds beautiful, but what's the cost? and I know that's kind of out of the ballpark, but most people will say I would love to do this. But what's the ticket to do this?
Depending on the location, the destination, it's about $175 a day per person.
Okay. And how long do they stay out?
Anywhere between 7 and 14. We're going to go to Europe in a few months.
Wow.
So we will go to Europe for the first time this year. And 14 days will be the longest.
Right.
My favorite trips are somewhere between 10 and 12. Everybody just has time to relax and just really have a great time. But nothing shorter than 7.
If somebody wants to go, is there, and they don't have the financial resources, but they want to be with their loved ones, does your company provide financial assistance for the trip? Because I know you can't help everybody, but this sounds like something that everybody should at least be able to have the opportunity to be with their loved ones.
I do not have the financial stability to provide the assistance, but we will be happy to work with community organizations, their church,
Right.
A GoFundMe page. Yes, we have done a lot of projects like that with families, and it has always worked out.
Why do you think there's such a overlook for what you're doing? Because you've been doing this for several years, and you're saying that the enjoyment, I see it in your face, the enjoyment that you're getting from this and the people. Why is it not being looked at deeper in all the arenas of dementia and Alzheimer's and so forth?
Because the caregivers are exhausted. And when somebody says, well, hey, why don't we take mom to the Caribbean? The first thing is, you've got to be kidding me. I'm not taking mother anywhere. I have to take her to the doctor 4 times next week. The caregiver of us is so overwhelmed with the care responsibilities that we overlook, not by purpose, but because of personal survival, that I cannot do one more thing. No, not one more thing. No one more thing. When in reality, that one more thing will give them the greatest blessing that they've ever had. Because
Take your time.
Mother's Day is tomorrow, and they're not going to have that person in their life forever. And the moments that they spend watching her be happy, watching her have that joy one more time, and that might mean putting her feet in the ocean, or holding a sled dog puppy, or going for a walk on the sand, or having an experience petting the turtles. That joy that she just gets to have living is what, when days like tomorrow show up, that's what I know that's in my heart. I took my parents with me on 8 of our trips. And yes, it eventually required a private duty RN to attend to their needs. But I'm grateful. And I have to say that that's the other piece of what we do. I mean, I may be creating 2 hours of a caregiver respite daily and 3 hours of caregiver education when we're at sea. But we have a lot of other support available. So we will, and we frequently do, provide accompanied flights. So I have a staff member flying to Houston, and then he will fly with a family from Houston to Seattle, so that his wife can handle the gentleman in the airport, so that my staff, so that Joe can take the gentleman to the restroom and, help her so that she's able to hang on to luggage and carry-ons and medicine and passports, and somebody else can watch the husband. So we frequently do that, but then we also create private duty options on the ship.
Somebody may think that's a lot of work, but it's an enjoyable work that your staff clearly enjoy doing.
I have never worked harder, but I can tell you from the bottom of my heart that the joy that we get to see And what we get to watch and experience is worth every piece of it.
What are you missing? What can make this go over the top in your book? What's missing?
Just more visibility.
Okay.
We existed and were doing quite well before COVID. COVID just put a stake, but it didn't hit my heart, and we did survive. So I think that 2 years of being shut down and shut off was it's difficult to reboot it. I do admit I'm so grateful that this trip to Alaska is going to be fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's going to be cold.
it's cold. We're going to.
It's going to be cold.
We have
there.
been up there 8 times.
Okay.
This is not our first rodeo.
Okay.
And yes, they have to pack a coat, a scarf, gloves, earmuffs, hand warmers, a jacket, a raincoat, and then 2 changes of clothes every day.
Are most of the people that are involved in these trips, are they just Indiana-based people? Because you're in Hobart. And how do you get the message across to other nursing homes? And where is the information being spreaded to?
We currently have clients in 47 states.
Okay.
And it just gets a lot of word of mouth.
Really?
One caregiver comes, and then they go back and share it with their support group or with their neurologist that they currently see. A lot of professional interactions, especially on LinkedIn.
How are you getting accepted by the medical field? You just mentioned the neurologist from one of your patients. Like, how closely are you working with the doctors of these individuals? And is this a long-term, when they become part of this, does this now become long-term care for the individual? These trips, this interaction? Because now this is something that if they have the Alzheimer's or dementia, this is something they're looking forward to. So now you're not only, you're like family now.
Oh, we honestly leave as family. And we stay in contact with them, whether they come back and travel with us or not.
Right.
Yes, we communicate with a lot of neurologists. Have we communicated or reached the ability to handle the neurologists in the U.S.? Heavens, no. Mm-hmm. We work with a lot of geriatric care managers,
Right.
who are professionals who work with families who are struggling just as we have been. A lot of trust officers, just people that are interacting with families and hear the pain of, gosh, we used to travel all the time and now I can't go anywhere, or I've been stuck in that house for 2 years and I can't get out. I can't even take him to the drugstore. The frustration that comes out just during a normal professional conversation, whether it's with your banker or your doctor or whoever it is. Mm-hmm. Then that's where I'm hoping that the communication then says, well, hey, I know about this nurse, and she travels with people that have some sort of dementia or cognitive or neurological challenge, and she will help you travel. And then once they know that I exist, then I get to have a conversation on the phone.
You mentioned something else recently that just a second ago, mental emotional breakdown. Are you affiliated? Is the program also, does it have an impediment to where you're dealing with emotional therapists to deal with them? Because not only for the patient, but the caregivers. Is this part of the package as well?
Part of our programming includes meditation, conversations about relaxation, exercises. Mm-hmm. I have traveled with therapists, yes, not on every single cruise. Mm-hmm. The staff that actually presents the programming changes because I have so many repeat clients. Mm-hmm. I want them to hear and learn and see something different from a different professional.
Right.
So I am in the process of setting up a huge project for the end of November of 24. And that is going to be a project that will hopefully bring the pieces together and give the clients, upon departure from the cruise,
like what are those pieces?
A solid support post-cruise. The keynote speaker for that cruise will be somebody that has a business in the business of supporting families. We have worked with a few people of that concept in the past, and that really is what our caregivers need. They need to have somebody to call upon them when the cruise is over, and then continue to create solutions.
Okay.
Because just because I have mom doing this today, guess what? 2 weeks from now, she's going to be doing this. And then she's been doing this. And you weren't expecting this because nobody warned you about this. So the more information we have, even if you don't need it today, you're going to need it 6 weeks from now.
Right.
And you might not want to admit that. Oh, my dad's not going to do that. But then when he does it, you're like, oh, I remember her saying that. So the information, the knowledge that they glean, even from a caregiver circle, where they're just all sitting in a room and, this is happening, what am I supposed to do about this? They hear solutions. And then when that problem comes up in their world, they at least have a vision of, oh, yeah, that's what they said. Let's try that.
Right. Before we wrap up, what are some of the things name 3 things that people should do or should recognize before contacting you?
They should recognize that they are the primary caregiver now, or a caregiver, a caregiving family for a loved one that has a medical issue. And that in and of itself puts you in the box of not getting to be the wife anymore, because now you're the caregiver instead of the wife. Or not the daughter anymore, because now I'm doing all of the medical things that have to happen for dad.
Right.
And then admit to yourself that having help is going to be a really good idea. Having help is going to be a good thing and not a failure on my part because I couldn't do this. Well, nobody can do this.
Right.
It's impossible. So, and then the opportunity to have memories that are fun with your loved one. This caregiving thing ends up being no fun most of the time.
Right.
And I have 2 goals. Number 1, that the caregivers have the opportunity to make memories that they're going to hold in their heart forever.
Right.
They get to see their loved one happy and enjoy that happiness with them, even if it's eating some strange new food, new unique, I'm going to have reindeer pate. Well, okay,
I'll tell you what, when you go to Alaska, you're going to have some strange stuff.
Well, then let's give it a shot. But if you don't like it, we'll order grilled chicken. And number 2, that they interact with the opportunity to learn some skills that they didn't have when they came.
Right.
Meet people that they can call upon when this is over.
Or bond with.
And really become genuine, honest friends.
How can the viewers reach out to you and get more information on your services, more about yourself, and even if it's just pick up the phone and have a question about what they're going through every day?
I would be more than happy to answer. My direct phone number is 219-608-2002. And the website that details the programming, the professional support, all of my bio is located at Elite Cruises and VacationsTravel.com.
That sounds wonderful, peaceful, the whole 9 yards. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to come and share this live with us with great information. Make sure you reach out and support the cause. Your loved ones are just that. They're your loved ones. And a lot of times we might take, like Kathy said, a lot on ourselves, but we need these services. We need to understand that these caregivers are there for a reason. They're there to act as a lifeline when we need to be called on one. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show.